Hello everyone, Neil Sheth here and welcome to How Do You Make Money, where I interview entrepreneurs and talk about how they make money by breaking down their product, marketing and sales strategy. Today we're talking to Emily Lyons, who is the founder and CEO of North America's top event staffing, the multi-award-winning Femme Fatale Media Group. Emily has gone on to launch and scale several other successful companies, including Lyons Elite Matchmaking, True Glue Beauty, Femme Fatale Public Relations, JWLS Accessories, and the Julia Lyons Foundation. Wow, you've been busy. Emily is also a champion for women in business, mental health, and cystic fibrosis. Welcome so much. And before I open it up to you, Emily, for those watching this, wondering why is Neil looking at this other screen, in the background as Emily shares her story and how she makes money by breaking down her business, I'm going to be putting together this diagram that summarizes it for all of you to learn. So that's why I'll be looking at my other screen and making notes. Emily, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So I mean, take us to the top. Tell us, like, how did you get started? How did you fall into all of these businesses? Like, how do you still have hair after, after all of these? Tell us more.
So the first company I started was back in 2009, and that was Femme Fatale Media. And when I started it, I didn't have any money. So I had $80 to my name, and I was late on my rent. I'd gotten an eviction notice, and I didn't have any experience or education. So I read a book called Career Renegade, How to Make a Great Living Doing What You Love, and it really inspired me. So at the time, I worked part-time as a promotional model and a brand ambassador. And so I had this idea that I would start that company. So to do so, I really got clever with everything free out there. So I found free email marketing to get the word out there. I partnered with a web designer and offered an exchange of services in exchange to build my initial website. And then one of the things that I did from the get-go, which I think really attributed to a lot of the success of the company, was search engine optimization. So I learned how to do that on my own. And being able to do that got us ranking, I think, year 2, really, really strongly in Google search results. So that was able to get us a lot of ongoing business coming in. And then from there, we were able to get referrals, and we were able to leverage that to bid on bigger campaigns, and then went on to expand the services, and then expand the cities, and then the countries. And yeah, it's quite a journey. Yeah.
That sounds amazing. So we're gonna drill into this a bit more, but before we do, give us a sense of how big the business is across everything that you do. Share as much or as little as you want.
Yeah. So Femme Fatale Media has about 10,000 staff that work for us across North America, give or take.
Is that full-time staff that work for you?
No, not all of them are full-time right now. With COVID, it's been a bit of a different landscape. Yeah, I can imagine. But we're always growing, and we're always adding on new things. And no, but they're not full-time at the moment. But
got it. So are we, and just I guess to prod a bit more, are you a seven-figure business owner, 8-figure?
No, that one's an 8-figure business. Yeah.
8-figure. Okay. So fairly large business. So you got the Femme Fatale group. Is that your main focus, or are there other businesses as well?
No, there's other businesses. That was my main focus for the majority of the last decade. And then I launched other businesses throughout the years. And as COVID hit and we scaled back on that business, I focused on the other companies for the last year, because that one's mainly live marketing and events. It was a tricky landscape. I mean, we did launch new services like safety staffing and things like that. But it was great because I was able to focus on the other companies, which really needed it. But so we've got the other two that I really focus on is True Glue Beauty, which is clean cosmetics. And it really started with natural lash glue. So I saw an opening in the market for a product that didn't exist. I wanted it. My team wanted it. So I worked with a chemist. We developed it. And I wasn't really sure because it was a totally new area that I'd never been in. And I'd always been told, stick to what you know.
Mm.
But I was passionate about it and I wanted to do this. So once I launched it, I utilized influencer marketing to really grow that brand.
Okay.
So I reached out to anybody in that area. So beauty bloggers, makeup artists, anybody that really had a following that could appeal to that market. So clean beauty bloggers, vegan bloggers.
Mm.
And that was how that company grew very quickly. So we would send out care packages to hundreds and hundreds of people every week with a coupon code, come back to our website, purchase from us, and then we would give them a kickback as well. And it really grew that company very quickly. So then we got retailers coming to us, salons wanting to carry it, but they didn't just want one SKU. They wanted a variety. Not a lot of wholesalers want to take on a company that just has one SKU. So we built out clean cosmetics and vegan lashes and things like that to go with it. But
wow. Okay.
Really, we still focus a lot on influencers. I mean, it's been 6 years now with that company and is carried in a lot of really incredible stores like Anthropologie and the detox market. But influencers has been a really big win for us, and focusing on micro influencers. So people with the smaller followings, and we've just found the conversion to be a lot higher, and they're willing to do it for exchange for product.
Wow, really? Okay, so so True Glue Beauty is an e-commerce store, correct?
It is. It's an e-commerce store, yeah.
Okay, I'll go check that out. Okay, so we've got Femme Fatale, we've got True Glue Beauty, and what was you said there was 2 others, so there's one more.
And Lyons Elite is the one that I focus on as well. So it's a luxury matchmaking agency.
Yeah.
So
super interesting.
It is really interesting. So after I started having success with Femme Fatale and met a lot of really incredible people, we were working with different celebrities and a lot of really awesome people. And guys, no, sorry, puppies are deciding to wrestle. So I would introduce people. We had a lot of different events, and I would, I introduced my lawyer to his wife, and I started getting contacted from people I didn't know asking to introduce them to someone. I'd get emails like, I hear you know everybody. Can you set me up with someone? And so I started to look into it more. And I was in New York on a business trip, and I saw an agency that existed there. And I thought, I already have this existing network. So I can just take my network from Femme Fatale Media. And we already had a huge social following. That was something else that I had really focused on in the beginning, because again, it was free, it got our name out there. And so I was like, I can just take this and transfer it over. And again, use sort of the systems that we used for Femme Fatale Media. So being a headhunter, but now use it to be a headhunter for the heart as opposed to filling positions. So that was what we did. And we launched Lyons Elite. And we work with a lot of different CEOs and doctors and lawyers, politicians, professional athletes, actors across North America that want to find a long-term relationship. So, sorry, just give me 1 sec. I'm just going to move my dogs because they are going to wrestle.
Okay.
There. Okay. That's the beauty of having 4 dogs.
4 dogs. Oh my God. How do you manage 4 dogs? Do you manage the 4 dogs by yourself?
So I had 3, and then my mom passed away last year and got her little old dog. So,
wow.
My brother takes care of my mom's for the most part, so that's great. But they're all little, but when they start to wrestle.
So 3 key businesses, or 3 core businesses plus 4 dogs.
Yes.
I'm sure there's a learning. In fact, when I ask you for your one massive tip, I'm hoping productivity or focus comes up and how you do that. But you were saying, and and for those watching this, listening in, we're running these interviews from home. So I've got a 4-year-old kid. I have no idea when she's going to come in. Hopefully she doesn't and disturb us. But you've got 4 dogs, so that's life, hey. So you've got you were talking about Lyons Elite Matchmaking and the headhunter for the heart. That's really nice, and that almost, it feels like that came out organically.
It did. It really did. And again, my friends in business were saying, stick to what you know, but I think business is very similar in all different areas, and it's all just problem solving. And once you have that passion, I think you can really replicate it in all different areas. So it was sticking to what I know, and it was being able to leverage, what I had already built into another area. And that's what I've done with all of the companies is leverage, the network and cross promotions and things that I learned from those, and just finding how to apply it into a new niche. So
interesting.
The fundamentals are always, I find, the same, like using social media marketing, using influencers, and using search engine optimization.
A topic
Those
that I
are my
love. So we'll definitely we'll definitely talk about SEO in a sec. But just to make sure I'm following the businesses. So Femme Fatale, you mentioned you focus on live marketing and events. So can you just describe, what does Femme Fatale actually do for live marketing and events?
So we started off as an event staffing agency, so a service-based company. So I didn't have any overhead costs because, like I said to you, I didn't have any money. So what I did was I would contact different venues and offer brand ambassadors. So when you go into all different types of events, trade shows, things like that, you will see the staff there. So any event has a wide variety of different staff, from service staff, bartenders, hostesses, the brand ambassadors, giving out promotional materials, things like that. So we would train and provide those. So we started off focusing on nightclubs and events like that. And as I kind of got into the industry more, I saw that corporate was really the big ones. So we moved into the corporate side of things and working with financial institutions and providing the brand ambassadors. And then we moved into trade shows. And when you get into trade shows, then you're looking at 200, 300 staff. So then you're looking at a huge, but then what I learned was the experiential marketing side of it. So really creating the entire activation for these companies. So when you take that, then you're getting into the 7-figure. So when you're creating the assets for the events, the coordination and all of it, and you're managing all of that. So then that's when we launched that a few years in. So, we'll staff for just about anything. So we have fashion models. Last week we had a music video for a well-known rap artist. We'll do go-go dancers. We'll do burlesque. Like we'll create an entire thing based on the target of our clients. But really our focus is brand ambassadors and driving brand awareness and sales for our clients.
Got it. So your planners as well, you'll come in and you'll look at the entire experience, or you'll just offer the staffing and the assets?
We'll do all of it. So we have a team now that does all of it. And then we also built out our communications division a few years ago. So they'll do the PR side if needed as well.
Wow, that's really impressive. When it comes to, I've actually got one of my first businesses was in the entertainment events space.
Oh, great.
What's beautiful about this business is the fact that it's a service-based business. So you get a project, you can ramp up. If things are quiet, you can ramp down. So what does that mean for you at the moment? Do you basically have contacts and bar staff, cocktail makers, entertainment? Do you essentially have a very large group of contractors that you can tap into, last minute, as soon as an event comes on board, and basically you can go, okay, here's the staff we need, and we'll organize it, we'll arrange it, we'll make sure it feels like there are staff? Is that essentially the model that
So we have a very large roster, and we're always adding to it, especially when we have a new client coming on board. If they're in a new city or things like that, we'll really ramp up hiring in that area. But we've got an existing roster, and we're always adding to it, especially with specialized talent as well that we can then offer. But some of our clients will come on and they'll say, in 2 weeks' time, we need 600 staff across North America we're rolling out a promotion for some sort of special. And so we'll need to fulfill those pretty quickly. And we always want to be able to fulfill last minute asks for our clients. And we'll also do supplementary staffing for other marketing agencies as well that can't fulfill it because we have such a large roster.
Mm.
And I think that's predominantly a result from our social media, as well as, again, the SEO, because when somebody types in temporary job, things like that, then we come up. So we've constantly got this flow of applications coming in.
Got it. And that just sounds like you just need to constantly keep building up the roster, build it, hiring. I'm sure you've probably got that internally as something that's just an ongoing thing, isn't it? How did COVID hit you? I'm guessing that took a big turn on the business, but you mentioned a pivot. So tell us about the pivot that you tested and tried.
It was interesting because, in February, we had a client cancel, and our team was all saying, well, that's crazy. Why would they cancel? You know, they're being paranoid. COVID's not going to change anything.
Oh, no.
And then in March, within 48 hours, we had hundreds of events cancel.
Wow.
So we didn't really know what was going to happen, if it was going to be temporary or what. So we kind of just took a step back. We put everything on hold for the time being for about 48 hours while we kind of figured out the landscape. And then because I had the other companies, I was able to move some of the employees to those companies, because now, you know, as things went online, e-commerce really blew up, and so did matchmaking, because now people couldn't go out to meet. They couldn't go to bars, they couldn't, things like that. So now, and also a lot of the CEOs that had been, you know, heads down in business for so long, we're now taking a step back and thinking, okay, what's really important in life? And that was building a family and a partner. So now they're putting their focus on that. So those two companies went way up. So we were able to put some of the staff over there. And then also we introduced things like safety staffing. So staffing for corporations, where we would go in and ensure that, you know, the physical distancing was maintained, things like that. Giving out the proper PPE on locations. And we introduced virtual sampling campaigns, which was really neat, because we then, instead of, so a company, usually you'll see them, you know, on a street corner handing out samples of whatever, new chocolate or something like that. They're giving it out to the masses and they're doing this marketing campaign. But when you can do it virtually, well, now we can tap into our database. And so say it's a shampoo for women and your target is women 25 to 30. Well, then we can pull from our existing database we've built up over the years and be like, here's 10,000 women that meet that target. We can send it to them directly. We can also get their feedback on the product within 48 hours, something like that. So that was what we introduced. And that was really successful this last year. So,
so you launched that under Femme Fatale. Wow, that's really impressive. That's incredible. So tell us, before we move on to True Blue and Elite, what does the pricing look like? So it sounds like there's different products, and it then depends on different events and the sizes, but give us a range in terms of prices for Femme Fatale.
Oh, there's a wide range. So it would really depend on the size of the campaign. I mean, you could go as low as, if you're getting a brand ambassador, an hourly rate. So really depending on what it is, I mean, $30, $40 an hour. And then if it's a huge campaign, then you're looking at 7 figures for the campaign, right? Wow. Yeah. If we're doing, you know, something for an automotive company where we're staffing, something that we've done where we're staffing at all their dealerships, taking them for test drives, things like that, and then you're into the 7 figures.
Got it. That's incredible. Okay, so we've got Femme Fatale, and I love this concept, actually. I'm just like thinking about it. Virtual, like, you know, when I used to work in corporate, I used to come out of the train in St. Paul's in London, and then as I walk up the steps, there would always be these samplers, you know, these people that would give out samples of, you know, drinks or notebooks, or, you know, trying to promote something. And so you talked about virtual testing and virtual sampling. It just makes so much sense, doesn't it? But the key, I guess, is the database. And if you've got the database, actually, how have you got the database?
So we have 2 different areas. So one is a massive database that we've built up over the years, from events, from data collection, from people subscribing to different things that we've had, from giveaways, things like that, but then also using our brand ambassadors as well. So we have a system where we've got over 10,000 of our brand ambassadors. And in that, we've got them sorted by every single detail so that we're able to book them for certain campaigns. So of course their age, their where they live, where they just about everything you can think of. Their interests, their height, things like that, where they grew up, the languages they speak. So we can pull them from that and use that.
So essentially, you've turned into a market research company, haven't you? With
I
your
guess
with your own audience, I guess that you could probably spin that out of Femme Fatale Media Group.
Well, that's the thing. You can really monetize anything in such clever ways if you just think about it. There are just a million ways to monetize just about anything.
Oh yeah, 100%. Okay, so you've got True Glue Beauty, which I'm going to bring up on my screen as you talk through. But actually, a really simple question. It's an e-com store. You had to add in a bunch of products. Is the brand trueglue.com?
True-glue.com.
True-glue, yeah, I found that. Okay. What's the prices for that, and where do you manufacture this?
So we have a couple different manufacturers, and the prices start. Our lowest item would maybe be, I'd probably say $10, and then I think the highest one we've got is $65, which is our salon grade. We're currently in a stock of that though. The majority of our products are manufactured in Ontario, in Mississauga, right close to us, so that we can work with them, because our lash glue, which is our biggest selling product, because it's proprietary, it's not made by anybody else. And so we're very hands-on with the development, but we've been working to convert it to a salon grade for lash extensions, which is very popular and very toxic. A lot of people have a lot of allergies to that. So that's what we've been working on the past few years. But the majority of it is made in this area. Some of the products are made in different areas of the world, just depending on what it is. Do our best to source it. Yeah. And then our office is in Toronto, Ontario, and that's where we ship and house all of the products at the moment.
Wow. Okay. So, I mean, how do you go about, because you're in a totally different industry, and you mentioned earlier you knew nothing about this new industry. You had to go to someone to go make it from scratch. How do you go about doing that? What was some of the research? What were some of the mistakes you made? Talk us through that process.
Yeah, well, first I had no idea how to develop a product.
Yeah.
So Googling. Google is my best friend. So how do you develop a product? And then exploring how I find somebody and the right person. And so how I found the first chemist that I worked with was using Upwork. And I found a lot of really incredible talent through that. Yes. Oh my God. This was years ago. I can't remember what the ad was, but that was how I came across them. And I found just about everybody through Upwork for different projects that were just really niche. And I worked with that person to develop the first one, and it was great. And we've tweaked it a lot throughout the years. It's really hard when you're working with a natural product because of separation that happens and the preservation and things like that, and increasing the shelf life. So it was quite a crazy learning experience, but there's been a lot of different issues. I mean, the first formulation that we had that we really liked, Canada gets terrible winters. And we started, when we were shipping come December, we started getting all these complaints that the adhesive wasn't working anymore. Oh, no. The cold temperature was affecting the adhesive and ruining it, which I guess is common with adhesives that aren't strong, that don't have really strong chemicals in them. So then we had all this stock that was no longer good. So we had to get a rush on. Yeah. And we had to figure out how to ship it in the winter. We had to actually take a few months off because we were like, okay, we had to put it out of stock, but we figured out how to make it withstand the crazy temperatures in Canada for shipping out. But that was interesting. And just being able to develop a product that was new, and then figuring out the safety testing after the fact, and microbial testing and things like that. Was really interesting.
That sounds really stressful, but I'm looking at your Instagram. We've got 45,000 followers, and it's just got a really nice brand. You know what this is. It all feels great. actually, we'll touch on this when we talk about marketing. So let's carry on going to the last one, which is Lyons Elite Matchmaking. So you grew this business organically. People like, you know, Emily knows someone. Emily, can you help? So you figure, let me go ahead and create this elite matchmaking business. Let's go with the easy question. Easy question is, how does it work when the customers buy? What does that look like? Are they on a package? Are you guaranteeing them love? Or, you know, are you the female hitch?
It's an incredible industry, because I mean, you're introducing somebody to, hopefully, to their partner. I mean, we had a wedding on Saturday to somebody. It was a female client, and I had introduced her to her now husband a few years ago. So it was like, you know, I was there on Zoom, and she was like, thank you to Miss Lyons for introducing me to my soulmate.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, all these people are there because of you, and you've changed this person's life. But so how it works is they pay up front. I mean, we are a higher end agency, so our packages can go up quite high, especially if you want to work with me directly, because I can only take on a certain amount of clients. So you could be looking at $50,000 for a package with me. And we are sending you matches based on your criteria. So we're pulling from our database. We're also going outside of that and recruiting. And I have matchmakers that work for me in our office right now. They're virtual, and they do the more entry level packages. But we can't guarantee anything. No, nothing's ever a guarantee. I mean, somebody could come to us, and as much as we try to coach them, if they aren't in the right spot to find a partner, because some people think that they are ready and they're not, and they've got too many personal things to work through. And so we'll do our best to coach them and find them what they're looking for. But if they're not there, then we can't guarantee them someone. All we can do is our best. And I mean, that should be a show in itself. I mean, I had this client, wonderful gentleman, but was very, very specific on what he's looking. And that's the problem when you go to a matchmaker, is you come with this laundry list of qualities that you think you want in a person. And when you go to a matchmaker, it's not like you're going to build a partner person. You can't just give this form and you're like, here, this is what I want. Check all the boxes. It's still, comes down to that connection and that chemistry. And so I had this client, and I kept saying, I have this great person I want you to meet. And he was saying, no, she doesn't hit my targets of what I want, blah, blah, blah. And they ended up meeting at a Christmas party we had and hit it off. He didn't realize it was the girl I was pushing him to meet, and they've been together ever since. So, I mean, everybody is different, and it's just, finding that match based on what they think they want and what they actually want.
Yeah, and how does that work? And you said you go up to 50. What does your lower end start at?
5,000 at the moment, but we're going to be putting our rates up.
And how does that work? So they sign up, and is that over a year they're working with you, or 3 months? Like,
that's a bronze package, and that one's for 6 months time, and they're working with one of our matchmakers. So we have a system that we use. It's called Smart Match, and it has all of our affiliates in there. So you can sign up with us as a free affiliate or a paid client. And if you're a free affiliate, you're in our database. We aren't actively looking for you, but if we have a paid client who is a potential fit, we'll reach out to you.
Oh, okay.
So say Neil signed up with us, and this is what you're looking for. So our matchmaker is going to work with you. They're going to really get to know you. You become very close. You talk one-on-one often, and they see where you might need help. Do you need more confidence, things like that. And then they send you over matches from our database, and it's going to show you everything. So it's going to show you their photos, their education, what they're looking for, their height, their stats, their history, where did they grow up, what are they allergic to, things like that. So you can really get a sense of people. And then from there, we do a virtual call with them once they've both confirmed they're a match, just because of COVID and things like that. So then if they hit it off in the call, then they set up a date from there. Oops.
Got it. So when you say you look at areas where they need help, so you're coaching that person towards kind of like, so talk us through some of the issues that you find people have.
Oh my gosh, everything across the map. A lot of people coming out of, someone keeps wanting to call me there. A lot of people coming out of relationships that haven't been in the dating scene for a very long time. So if you've been married for 20 years and now you're single, it's like, okay, what do I do? How do I date? How do I interact with people? How do I flirt? Things like that. So it's just really getting them back into the thing of things. And we've had clients that are very nervous on dates. So we've sent them on fake dates with someone from our office, one of our matchmakers, just to get them comfortable again and get their feet wet and things like that. But yeah, there we go. Sorry, I have terrible allergies right now. I keep blowing my nose. It's no. I don't know what it's like in the UK, but this year it's just nuts.
Yeah, I've just, it's weird. I've just picked up hay fever in the last 5 years. I don't know how, but
same.
It's so random. I really don't get it. And yesterday, for the first time, I decided to buy allergy tablets. For the last 5 years, I've just been going, no, I'm not going to accept it. I'm not going to be a person that has hay fever. And then I'm like, blocked up, sneezing and everything. And I thought, you know what, let me just give in and buy some. So yeah, really irritating, isn't it?
I'm at the point where I've bought it and I refuse to take them. So yeah, I've got them here and I haven't taken them yet. I'm still in that, like, no, I don't need allergy pills. But
okay, so you were talking, so you've got this great model. You've got the coaching. You've got people that find partners. You have your fees. So I guess why aren't you doing a Netflix program on? Have you seen The Matchmaker?
I have seen that one a bit. The Indian matchmaking.
The Indian matchmaker.
Loved that one. It was so good.
It was great. Why don't you do one?
Maybe one day. One day.
You know what's funny? I think you'll only appreciate this, but I was watching the program, and there's a guy called Srini in the program, and one of the girls' mum is really rude to him, and when they're discussing, her date with him. So I was watching this with my wife, and I was going, I really like Srini. Why are they being rude to him? So I picked up my phone, and I went on Twitter, and I messaged him. And I said, hey, Srini, I thought you were great. I loved what you did. And I just wanted to message you to give you some support. And funny enough, he messaged me back and he said, thanks, Neil, really appreciate it. And by the way, we need some help with SEO. So we then...
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, it was great. It was awesome. We jumped on a call and we talked about the show. And I was like, I can't believe I'm talking to you about, like, on a Zoom. And then we did some work for him.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, we did some work for his podcast. But how things translate into moments of just watching a program to messaging someone to actually having a client is just crazy. But
was he happy he did the show?
So I'll probably share that with you privately, as opposed to this being open, because my conversation with him was in private. But I think, we had a good laugh, put it that way. So yeah, we ended up doing some work for him, which was just
that's incredible.
And he's got an awesome podcast. So shout out to Srini's podcast. But look, so you've got, and I do hope you do the Netflix thing, because you would be awesome on that. So we've got the Femme Fatale Media Group. We've got True Glue Beauty e-commerce. Lyons Elite Matchmaking. You've got all these businesses, and you start talking about the marketing. For Femme Fatale, I made some notes, and you start talking about email marketing, referrals. You've talked about increasing your revenue and then using that to bid more on ads. But what you talked about in the beginning was SEO and how that's really had a huge impact on your business. So talk us through it. And for those that are watching this, that are launching businesses or trying to get from zero to somewhere, how would they apply that?
Yeah, so I think SEO has been probably the biggest driver for all the companies.
Really? Okay.
It just getting that ongoing traffic has just been incredible. But I learned that, I'm not sure how I came across it, first of all, way back when, but I did. And so I just started implementing everything I could and finding plugins that would tell me how to do things better. And then when I got to a few years in and I could afford it, then I would look for SEO people to hire. But I made a lot of mistakes. I hired someone and they did bad SEO and it penalized us for a while with Femme Fatale. We dropped off Google. And so I can't remember what it was, Black Hat or something like that. So it's always been a big part of our strategy, but trying to find people that do it and versus having enough time to do it on your own is really difficult. So if you can find somebody good and you can afford it, then it's really, 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 really worth it. And I find that it converts a lot better for us versus Google AdWords, especially for Lyons Elite. And I think that's because it just gives that kind of validity behind it. You know, when it's showing up there so predominantly number one in the search, it's like people see and they're like, oh, wow, this one's first versus an ad. Especially when you're spending that much money.
Yeah, we hear that a lot actually when we're running campaigns. The quality of the SEO inquirer can be sometimes harder because people see the ads and then they'll just avoid it sometimes, and then they'll go, okay, where can I?
That's what I do. Is I usually avoid the ads.
Yeah, I do that as well. And okay, so SEOs, and where would you like, whether you're a service business or actually True Glue Beauty, an e-commerce place, or service Lyons Elite Matchmaking, there's, for those that are wondering what SEO means, by the way, we should probably just define that. SEO, search engine optimization, is basically a strategy, an online strategy of getting to the top of Google when someone's searching for you. And the reason I love it, and the reason Emily loves it, is because when someone's searching for Emily's service, so someone's searching for marketing or bar staff, last minute bar staff, or they're searching for events recruitment company in Toronto, and someone's Googling that, right? And you're there right in front of them when they're Googling that. That's a really good, high quality person that you could be having a conversation with. And that's why many businesses like SEO. So there's the technical aspect, which totally agree. It's just best to hire someone. But actually, if you've got a WordPress site and you're just launching, actually there's not going to be too many things that you need to technically optimize, because if you're using good theme, then Google should just be able to crawl that. But SEO is almost like, it's a journey, right? It's like it's like going to the gym. You've got to keep doing it, you've got to keep on it. But a big part of SEO is also content, creating the right type of content that Google wants. So Emily, like, how do you think about that? And what would you, if you're launching, let's say you're launching True Glue Beauty today, or you're launching the next Lyons Elite Matchmaking service in New York, what would you do about SEO if you wanted to manage it yourself?
If I wanted to manage it myself, first I would focus on content creation. So creating really good blogs, not keyword stuffing them. So what you want to be ranked for, obviously, is what we would call keywords. So what people are typing into Google is what you want to show up for. So you want to have those in your blogs, but you don't want it to be obvious. So focusing on writing really great content that people like, and ideally they want to share, and then getting it out there. So I share it across all of our social media channels, and trying to get backlinks to your site. So sending out press releases that link back to your site, getting media features that link back to your site. And a really easy way to do that is you signing up for HARA, Help a Reporter Out. And they're going to email you a couple times a day with requests from journalists for you to comment on different articles and link back to your site. So you're going to get that juice that Google's going to see and help you rank pretty quickly. So those are the ones that I really focused on. And I mean, if you are using a WordPress site, you can get, I think it's Yoast plugin, YAOST, I'm pretty sure. And it'll let you know how your blog is set up. When you're writing it, it'll give you a ranking, is it good? What needs to be improved in terms of SEO and just things overall on your site. I'd also sign up for SEMrush or something like that, where it's going to tell you what you need to fix up on your site to be more Google friendly.
Yeah, that's amazing advice. Yeah, the plugin's called Yoast, YOAST. there's SEMrush, there's also Ahrefs, you've got loads of tools. But like, you know, Emily's mentioning, researching the keywords and the phrasing and creating the right type of content. That for me is where the value is when it comes to, because actually whether you're creating that content for your search user or not, your audience is going to be reading it. You know, the people that you meet in your networking events or your network on LinkedIn, you know, people will read good content when they're looking for your service. So it's useful anyway. The fact it ranks is almost like a bonus, is how I think about it. And then, so you've got this email marketing strategy, referrals as the business has grown with Femme Fatale. You've got SEO coming in, Google Ads, PPC. Now let's move on to the sales strategy. What happens after that? Someone lands on your site. How do you make the sale?
So we connect with them, obviously, and then we qualify. Like, we don't work with everybody now. We're at a level where we don't need to work with everyone. So we qualify they're a client that we want to work with, that they're a good fit on both sides. And then we sell them based on our experience. So we'll send over a deck that really shows what we can do for them. And whenever we quote them, we break it down as to what's included and why we're different. So always focusing on differentiating us from other event staffing agencies. So we have a large social media following, which other event staffing agencies don't. So when we work with a client, we will promote them if it's a fit on our social media. So now you're getting, especially if it's an event and you want to increase ticket sales or things like that, or if you're a brand and you want to get more brand awareness, everybody wants that. Everybody wants more eyes on them. So we add that. We're also an award-winning agency. So we've won over a dozen awards. So you can select your talent from our award-winning roster. So things like that.
Got it.
Is really how we sell it.
And that's simply over a call, Zoom call, where you're sharing your deck and walking through it, I'm guessing.
Generally, it's via email. We initially, it depending on the size of the booking and whatnot. If it's just a small one-off, then it's just via email. But I think for any company, you should really be finding a way to differentiate yourself from your competitors.
Yeah,
you can drill home.
You're thinking outside the box. You've kind of applied social media to this, and it just makes sense, because if you're launching a new product or a service and you've got an audience, that's almost like it's a bonus that it's going to be hard for someone else, another staffing agency, to replicate that or even compete on that level, right? And price can only go so far. Whereas if you're bringing this whole value add, how do you price that? Which is probably a nice thing for you to do, because now you're moving towards value-based pricing as opposed to just this many staff, this many hours, that's the price.
And when you're putting that much into a campaign, you want to get results. So you want to do all these things that are going to do that. And if you're promoting it before, you're getting the exposure then, and then during, and then after.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then you've got True Glue Beauty, and you come across as someone that knows their numbers. So you talked about micro influencer marketing, and, you know, like, how does someone get started with that, and how much should they spend? I know this is like a really generic question, but at what point do you know influencer marketing is working for you?
You can know right away. So we don't generally pay for influencers just because of the area that we're in. I mean, if you are in something like diet pills or stuff like that, you're going to have to pay.
Yeah.
But when you're in something that people really want to use, which is, you know, a beauty product, lashes, people are going to be buying it anyways, the people that are in that niche. So we give it to them for free in exchange for them to promote us, but really focusing on the smaller influencers because they're a lot more open to doing it for free. When you get to the larger ones with the million plus, then they're going to want to be paid, because obviously they're being contacted by everyone. They don't care. They don't need more free product. But when you can do it in exchange for product, then really you're looking at the cost of whatever your product costs, the shipping, and the time your team takes to package it. So that really all depends on where you're shipping it to. But you can see as soon as that person posts how many sales come in, especially if you have a coupon code specific to them, then you can really track it and see. And we like to make long-term deals. So if it goes well, we're going to keep sending you more products. So this incentivizes them to get their people to buy it. And when it's the smaller people, they're a lot more passionate about it and they're a lot happy to be collaborating with the brand. And we really focus on people that also create great content so we can repurpose that onto our social media pages. And so then we're also getting content creation with that. And that's also great for them because they want to grow usually. So now they're going onto our page and we're posting them. So
it's that cross promotion that you're talking about. And those watching this, listening in, please go check out Emily's Instagram page, True Blue Beauty. It's awesome. 45,000 followers. It's very vibrant, very colorful. Who's managing the strategy behind this?
Just a girl on my team.
Yeah, it's cool. I like it. So you've got True Glue bit, and then the last one is around, actually, before we wrap up True Glue, you've got retailers. So as you grew the business, you started to get retailers on board, and you talked about distributors, and then you had to increase your SKU numbers. Are you doing any proactive retailer marketing? Obviously, COVID isn't a great time for retailers, but are you doing any marketing towards retailers, like picking up the phone or walking in, or are you just inbound?
We used to, but we stopped and really focused on the e-commerce side of things.
Okay.
It's just it's when you get into retailers and you've got to give them a significant discount so that they can profit and things like that. And it's just, we find it's better for our company when it's e-commerce. So we focus on direct to consumer, and then we can keep the pricing lower for our customers and
okay. So you're doing
for everyone.
You're doing paid ads as well? You're doing Google ads for True Glue?
No, not at the moment. No.
Really? Not even Facebook ads?
No. We do them sometimes, but we really focus on the influencer side of things and things like giveaways and stuff like that.
Got it. Okay. And that's just in the US and Canada. That's where you sell it.
You know, something that's been really great for us is Pinterest for driving sales for True Glue. We just share different things, different features, and we get 8 to 10 million views per month on the True Glue Pinterest page. It's my Pinterest page, and I just started posting True Glue stuff on there, and then it just kind of went way up. So I started using a Pinterest specific coupon code on all the posts so we could track how much of it was converting, and it was crazy. So
is that using like a Pinterest particular strategy, or are you just simply reposting your stuff on Pinterest?
I repost stuff and just specific makeup features I'll post on there and drive it back to the True Glue page.
Wow, that's super impressive. In fact, last week I just interviewed, we haven't put the interview up yet, but a Pinterest authority who speaks on Pinterest and has a large, her name's Megan Williams.
Very underutilized.
Yeah, she just does Pinterest, has a very large Pinterest membership. So if you ever needed help with Pinterest, she doesn't do too many one-to-ones, but I'm sure they'll say, if you ever need some help, I can put you in touch. But that's something I'll be looking at as well for a new brand that we're launching, Pinterest, because as you know, Pinterest ranks on Google. So Pinterest itself is a search engine, and Pinterest results also rank on Google. So I know we're slightly over, so we're going to start wrapping this up in a couple of minutes. So Emily, thank you so much for spending your time here. And then moving on to Lyons Elite Matchmaking, you talk about social media, cross promotion, networking, referrals, people that you know in your network, or obviously people that you've matchmade will shout about you, SEO, who knows, in the future, Netflix, your own program will bring in people. But when you look at all of this, what's the one thing that you couldn't live without?
It was the name, the established name. So utilizing that was what really helped the company. But also with that company, the established name of Femme Fatale Media, and using that to launch Lyons Elite and the established network. That really gave us the authority, and people talked about it. We had a lot of, so-and-so told me about you, so-and-so told me to reach out to you. We also did with that, I focused on public relations and focusing on the higher sort of publications. So like getting featured in Forbes, I did, Maxim, things where I thought the eyeballs might be that could be potential clients. And I did some events as well. So I put together some live events, I did one at the Ritz-Carlton. I did one at a beautiful outdoor pool venue in Toronto, free events where we invited specific people and was just very, very beautiful and luxurious. And we had certain clients come that were our initial clients, and just to really show kind of establish the brand in that way. And that was great as well.
Interesting. So how do you go around?
Will Smith came to one of them.
No way.
Yeah.
What, Hitch?
The
Hitch?
Yeah, we had his son Trey from his first marriage DJing at the one event. So Will, I guess, was in town shooting that one superhero movie. Can't remember what it was called. So he ended up coming. So our office team got some photos with him, which was neat.
That's so cool. So tell me a bit more about Forbes and Maxim for those watching this, and they're wondering, how do we land Forbes? How do we land Maxim? What did you do?
For Forbes, I found a writer that I resonated with, and I reached out to her on LinkedIn, and I said, this is my story. And she wrote me back and said, I'd love to feature you. Really, I think the important thing is to showcase your story in a unique way, because now I contribute to different publications. So I've written articles for Forbes. Now I've written them for Huffington Post, a wide variety of different places. And so I see the pitches that come through, and a lot of them are, I'm Emily, I'm an entrepreneur, I built this business. And writers don't care about that. They're not there to build you up. They're there to get eyeballs on their work and sell ads and sell newspapers or magazines or whatever it is. So it has to appeal to their audience. So if you can make it easy for them by providing them with a great, unique story that's going to get people wanting to click on it, then great. So approach them with a really great story. So tell it in a way that is unique. Like if you have something different about your story, did you have to go through some sort of adversity? So they loved the idea that, my sister passed away. Not so much that I was a successful entrepreneur, but that I had gone through these adversities and lived through them and built these businesses despite all these hard times that I had went through. So it's something unique that inspires people. So when you're approaching them, really keep that in mind. Think of them, not of you, because they don't care about you, unfortunately. It's telling your story in a really unique way. They say make your mess your message. So thinking of that when you're bringing it to those writers.
Make your mess your message. I've never heard that phrase. I love that. My mind's just blown here for a second. And just one question on that, because I think that advice is absolutely wonderful. When you send your message to the LinkedIn, how much of that do you put in your message? Because there's a lot there. You talked about adversity, you talked about the negative moments. They want to see the mess and then where you've got to. How much of that do you get into, or what are you pitching at this stage?
So really, I would test it. So I would make a list of different writers I wanted to contact, and I would test putting a really small amount, putting a medium size, putting a large amount, and seeing what got replies and what didn't, what got ignored. And then I would double down on the ones that got responses, but I would really change it and cater it to that specific writer and what I knew they were writing about and what would interest them. But I try to put something catchy in the first little bit so that it really catches their attention. Not, hi, I'm Emily Lyons, I'm an entrepreneur. Okay, well, I've been emailed by 100 entrepreneurs today. I don't care. Why are you different right off the bat? Catch their attention and why they want to respond to you. So really focusing on that and testing it, seeing what works and what gets people's attention. If you keep, and that's the thing I talk to a lot with different clients that come to us and they're like, oh, I've reached out to so many people and haven't gotten a reply. And they're copying and pasting the same thing that doesn't get a reply and doubling down on that. If something doesn't work, don't keep doing it. Try different pitches. But LinkedIn is incredible for that. And also just sharing posts. I mean, I have over 30,000 followers on LinkedIn, and it's just from repurposing posts I make on Instagram, the caption, and just posting it on there and asking some friends or employees to interact with my post shortly after I post it so that it gets that LinkedIn algorithm going. Yeah.
I love that. There's a guy I know who always WhatsApps me and he goes, Neil, like my LinkedIn. So I'll go and like LinkedIn. I love that. I hope the people listening to this are just getting just inspired, because I am. Quick story. Last year I wrote for Business Insider, and I pitched the same idea to entrepreneur, didn't hear back. And what I realized is I said to myself, Neil, I need to spend a bit more time here and be a bit more thoughtful and strategic. So I went and I had a look, and I realized the article I was pitching was about my time working with Goldman Sachs and how it helped me into growing a business. And I realized Business Insider wrote about Goldman Sachs, and they've wrote about that in the past. And I pitched the person connected to that piece of content, and that created a conversation. They helped me with the title. They slightly re-engineered it, and it actually sounded great. It was how 4 years at Goldman Sachs taught me about leadership, something, and building a business. And then I wrote this piece. It took a few months, but honestly, I was jumping on the moon. So I think everything you've said here is just really spot on. And yeah, I think there's a lot, people give up too easily, right? And I could have easily given up when I didn't hear back from Entrepreneur. And I think I pitched someone else. And then I went, actually, what's this article about? Who's this company I'm talking about? Where else is it being talked about? And that's where I found Business Insider. I thought, they're clearly interested in this. Let me put it together. So, okay, that's awesome. That's Lyons Elite Matchmaking. I'm also going to make a mental note to try events when things open up. Very lastly, before I show you this diagram, the sales strategy for Lyons Elite Matchmaking. How do you make the sale?
How do I make the sale? Same as with Femme Fatale Media. It's showing them why we're different, why we're better. We've already got this existing database that's massive. We've got this huge reach. We've got this social following. We've got a constant income of people applying, whereas a normal matchmaker has to go out and search based on that. Well, we do that, but we've also already got a huge database. So we can send you a match right away.
Okay, absolutely love it. Okay, so before I show you this, for those listening in, watching this interview that are going, wow, Emily's just smashed it. She's grown an 8-figure plus business. And she's got 4 dogs at the same time. How not going crazy? What's your one piece of advice for those that are looking at themselves and really want to take things to the next level? What would you say?
Really having that passion makes all the difference. So finding that passion in you, whatever that is, that just lights you up, and letting that just fuel you. But also to being consistent and showing up every day and working on it no matter what. I mean, I work on weekends, not always, but I do a little bit, and prioritizing things. So having a productivity planner where you write down everything you need to do and getting the worst things out of the way first thing in the morning, I think is so important and essential. So having that passion, being consistent, and prioritizing. Love it.
Getting the worst things out of the way. That's what I do. So as well. Okay, so this is my Picasso drawing. I've put it together. I know you're probably squinting, but I've got, to summarize, we have Emily Lyons, who runs Femme Fatale Media Group. She does live marketing and event staffing, plus event assets and planners. She does it all. So she could start from very low at $35 per hour, where an organizer is just booking an individual, or they're doing these very large campaigns to experimental campaigns where it's 7 figures plus. Emily Lyons also runs an e-com store called True Glue Beauty, where she's gone and actually sourced a chemist who's created a product that she now sells, and primarily starting that business with influencer marketing, and it's doing so well, and then growing that business over time with other strategies like SEO, Pinterest. There's also Lyons Elite Matchmaking, where you could hire Emily at a large fee, or her team, to help matchmake you and not necessarily guarantee, but help introduce you to individuals and to matchmake. So across the board, when we look at Emily's strategy, there's a real combination of different marketing strategies across social media, email marketing, referrals. You have a good product, you have a good service, you're going to get referred. And I think Emily does that super well. And then SEO really giving that boost. And we start talking about PR, holding events, but actually reaching out to big publications that Emily's audience exist, and then having that relationship and driving that trust to create good stories. Sales is fairly straightforward. She's got a great product, got a great service, and those sales are just happening through the inquiry coming in, unless it's obviously bought on True Glue Beauty. But on the service side, Femme Fatale, Lyons Elite Matchmaking, the acquirer coming in, and depending on the lead, the quality of lead, holding that conversation over email with a I called it a differentiation deck, or having a sales call, depending on the quality of the lead. So anything you would change on this, Emily, before we close out here?
No, I love it. It looks great.
So there you have it. That is how Emily Lyons makes money today. And what an inspiration that you are. And hopefully you've inspired many others that are watching this and listening to this. So just lastly, where can people find you?
They can find me on my website, MissEmilyLyons.com, or on Instagram, Emily Lioness is my handle.
Perfect. Thanks for going slightly over. Really appreciate it.
Thanks so
Cheers,
much,
Emily.
Neil.
Bye.
Bye-bye.